Hey everyone, this is Terry Watson, and today I'm going to do a tutorial on smoke photography. I'm sure you've seen hundreds of these images online on the various websites, and to be honest, I was surprised with how simple the process was and how little equipment was required to pull it off. The plan today is to show some of the images of the setup that I use to shoot smoke photography, and then we'll take a few minutes and actually go through some of the images from start to finish in Photoshop. I'll show you how to add color, invert the images to give it a negative effect, and then I'll also show you how to use layers to create some interesting shapes. So with that, let's get started. Okay, here's a shot of the setup that I use for smoke photography. As you can see, we set this up in the high key area of our studio. Basically what you have here is it's pretty simple. You have a background that's like a 4x6, like a collapsible black background. I've also used things like matte board, and I've also used even a black sheet. You can use anything you'd like. Then here I have an adjustable posing table, which is where the incense sits. And over here I have one single strobe. That's all we used. It was plugged in, unlike this one. And here is just a tripod, which I used a shutter release cable. So I just had it on the tripod and just sat back and watched the smoke and fired off the shots that I wanted to use. And let me go to the next screen here. And this is a close-up of the table. Again, here's the wooden piece that holds the incense. Here, this is a like a plastic tray just to catch the ashes. I certainly didn't want to start a fire. We have a sprinkler system in here, and that's not good on the studio equipment. And as you can see here on the strobe, I have a 20-degree grid, which what that does is that keeps the light from spilling over onto our black background and also over into the camera area. And it just keeps a nice tight beam of light coming right across the where the smoke is. Now when I shoot this, I typically shoot at like f14 or f16. The smoke doesn't rise straight. Sometimes it'll drift, a foot or so either direction. So I shoot at f14, f16, something like that, and then I shoot at 1/125th. Now as far as the light goes, I don't meter the light. I pretty much just kind of adjust it as I go and take a test shot. And as long as you're not blowing out the smoke, so you're losing detail, you're fine. Basically take it up to that point and then just back off a little, and that's really it. Like I said, it's not a real difficult setup. You can get by with minimum equipment and out of stuff you have around the house, as long as you have a good light source. So that's it. Let's go ahead and take a look at how to work on some of these images. Okay, the first thing I want to show you is how to add color to your smoke images. Like with anything else in Photoshop, there's probably 100 different ways you can do it. But here's what I do. So what I've done is I've opened the raw file, and as you can see in the background over here, there's it's not quite black. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the black slider, and I'm going to basically just increase the blacks until we have a complete black background. And you can see it doesn't have any effect on the smoke at all. So once we get it where we want, we'll go ahead and say Open Image. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Hue Saturation tool to add some color to your image. So what I'll do is I'll zoom out just a little bit and open this up, and then what I'll do is go up here to Image, Adjustments, Hue Saturation, and if you watch the colors over here in the smoke, what it'll do is you'll see that it adds some green and also some purple colors, and you can slide it back and forth, and you can also increase the intensity by using the saturation, and you can see that's an easy way to add some interesting color to the image. I'm going to cancel that. And then another way of doing this, you can actually go to Image, Adjustments, Photo Filter. And by adding a photo filter, what it'll do is it'll only affect the smoke. It won't affect the background at all. So you can see you can crank up the density and get an image. You can completely color the image without having to do any masking or any erasing. So we'll go ahead and say OK. And then what we can do is you can go to Image, Adjustments, Invert, and it will actually flip the image to be opposite colors, and there you can see you have the white and the green. I'm sure you've seen this kind of image before, and that's the technique for achieving that. So let me go back up here and say Edit, Undo, and let's undo one more time and go back to Adjustments, Photo Filter, and this time we'll use let's use Deep Emerald, and again we'll crank the color up. And this time we'll go back to Image, Adjustments, Invert, and you can see it gives us a different color, so it's basically just the opposite of the color we were using before. And this is one of the easiest ways to add color to your smoke images. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to work with layers to create some of the interesting shapes and designs that you see online. The first thing I'm going to do on this image is, as you can see, we got a lot of dead space in the upper right. I'm going to take the crop tool and I'm going to crop the image down just a little bit to get rid of some of that dead space. And select crop. And this is the image. This is the image we're going to work with. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to layer and create a duplicate layer. And then you can see over here it did create the layer. And then I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Horizontal. And so now we have a layer pointing each direction. And the next thing I want to do is go Image, Canvas Size, and I'm going to double the width of our canvas. So instead of 5 inches, it's now 10. And what this will do is create it to the right. So I'll go ahead and say OK. And let me open this up for you so you can see it a little better. And what I'm going to do now is take the top image and just drag it over and put it in place. And there you can see, it's already starting to take shape. The cool thing about this is everyone sees something different when they look at these images, so it's kind of cool that you can make whatever shape you want or whatever you see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in a little bit and let you see some of the texture in here. As you can see, that's probably the best part. These look really, really good when you print them super large. The internet really doesn't do them justice. Here you can see all the detail in there in the smoke. So what I'll do is we'll zoom out. And now that we have this other layer selected on the right, what we can do is we can go up to Image, or I'm sorry, we'll go to, no, that's right, Image, Adjustment, and we can invert, and you can see that's one of the images I've done in the past, where it gives it the, I guess the yin and yang effect, where you have the white and the black, the negatives beside each other. And so what we can do here is we can actually save this. We can flatten the image. And then we can do another duplicate layer, say OK, and this time let's go to Image, Canvas Size, and let's double the height of the image from 7 to 14 and say OK. And this time we're going to take this top copy and we're going to say Edit, Transform, Flip Vertical, and we'll zoom out a little so you can see what we're doing. And let me open this. And now we'll take this upper layer and just drag it straight down. And you can see, there we go. Well, we'll move it with the cursor. There you go. And you can see it gives you, you can keep doing this over and over and over and get, pretty much any shape you want. And we'll zoom in just a little bit and see the finished work. So there you go. That's a simple way of using layers to get these interesting effects that you see online. And there you go. Like I said, it wasn't too difficult and didn't take a lot of equipment to pull it together. So thanks for watching the tutorial, and I'm going to end with a few of the images that I shot from about 2 months ago. Thanks again.